Hey, welcome back. All right, so Ophiuchus wanted to make sure that you guys get your first video of the week, and then we'll go through all the next batch. You guys should get another one on Sunday, is what I'm aiming for, since we're getting back on track. My vacations are over, my family's all visited, and life this week is starting to iron back out. We have a Three of Wands. Three of Wands upright is somebody who's looking to their future. And she's like little like a soldier, very attentive and very much like either she's like, I patiently wait, I'm doing what I should, I am here looking to my future. The only thing is that it doesn't seem like she's very present in her present, because she's just focused out, you know, on the horizon. Not that that's bad, but if this is a coping mechanism, we may have, and now I don't know if this is a Fucus or somebody else yet, but we may have, we'll say a feminine, who is saying, I have had so much stress, and the thing that gives me peace is me looking to my future. That's what gives me the sense of peace, is I know that my future will be different than what my past was. That is what I intend. Yeah, 10 of Cups, Luminous Marina. Hey, girl. That is what gives me peace, because I know my tomorrow will be better. I am aiming for my 10 of Cups. I have had so much stress, so much trauma, so many things that have caused me grief, but I will not let that touch what my future will look like. So she's really put her sights on something much more beautiful. Now I see why she's like, standing there ramrod straight. It's because it's like, I will get beyond what I have endured. This is a very strong character. This is somebody who's really working hard on making sure that they move forward. We have a Five of Wands. There's definitely still like a lot of thought process going on in our characters, mind and heart. We see that, intuition is warring with her mind. What is that about? I'm going to say this is probably our Ophiuchus so far that we're talking about. Seven of Swords. Am I lying to myself? Am I just telling myself a happy story that isn't really going to happen, but I'm just lying to myself? No. Five of Cups is here in the reverse. I think each day, each passing day, she is feeling some of that stress and tension ease up. This says she's carrying around less and less of this melancholy. She's carrying around less and less regret, less and less. And, five is a number of change. I get that, she's like, I'm telling myself it's going to get better, but what if it doesn't? And this says every day gets a little bit better. There is, to me anyway, when I have bad days sometimes, and I'm just really stressed out about something, if I put on a smile, for other people, like, because I'm not going to bring them down, and my business is nobody else's business. And I sure don't feel like talking about it because it's my stuff I'm dealing with. But, so you go ahead and you smile anyway. And, sometimes after an hour or two of that, you actually do feel better. You have interacted nicely with other people. You remind yourself that life is more than the stressor that you're dealing with. Now, I get that's all relative. It depends on how big the stressor is, right? There's not always stuff we can just plaster on smiles over. But I would definitely say that in this storyline, oh yeah, our character has really chosen to move forward and to smile. And then we've got this King of Swords upright. I would just say that I get the fact that she's saying, maybe I'm lying to myself. Maybe I won't be able to shake off this memory. Yes, she will. And not only that, there will be somebody else out there for her. Now, he is standing here writing a letter, though. But there is something truthful coming in. For all we know, one of the reasons she's been stressed out has been him. And for all we know, she's going to hear something. We have a Four of Cups in the reverse. All I can say is that this keeps saying again and again, she's not lying to herself. Things are going to get better, and they are getting brighter every day. She's also not lying to herself that, and imagining that what if there is no happiness up ahead for me and I've missed out on, great joy, and this is a missed opportunity. And this card says she knows that that's not true. She knows that, like, in the core of her heart. She knows that that's not true. But we have evidence coming in. Tell me about the King of Swords. Let's change decks. Who or what is the King of Swords? Because this looks really awesome. We've got a Prince of Swords in the reverse, so he's taking his own sweet time, but he's also coming in without complications. Eight of Swords in the reverse. So is this going to be somebody new to her? Is that what this is? The Devil, the Judgment card. No, it's somebody from the past. In this one, it's somebody from the past. It is somebody that, if anything, they had to get uncomplicated because they had something that was holding them back. I feel like this person had to be like washed clean, because that's really, this is like a scene from Noah's Ark after the floodwaters are receding and the earth has been washed clean. And the devil energy is obviously the devil. Anything toxic, anything that's dragging somebody down. All I can say is, in this storyline, whomever the King of Swords represented, that must have caused her quite a bit of stress or grief for a period of time. And she's like, you know what? I'm still going to have happiness in the future. I'm not going to let this whole experience bog me down. This actually just says, I don't want her happiness to hinge upon him. Okay, this is why you see me like grimacing a little bit, because I'm like, I can't say that I get behind that aspect. I don't think anybody's like, oh, my life will be better. I know it will. And it's like, yes, because he'll come back and he'll all be changed. I don't want that to be like the hinge pin here of all of her happiness, because I think moving on and actually, choosing a healthier path for oneself, I like that. That's a stronger storyline to me. But it does say that she's not lying to herself, that she will be happier. And maybe what stressed her out is, who knows, maybe this had nothing to do with like a romantic interest. Let's say, for example, this was a mother who fretted so much about her adult son. Is my son, going to continue to be a hellraiser? He gets himself into all this trouble. I tried so hard, and he just, ignored everything, got himself incarcerated, got himself on the wrong path, super impulsive, made a bunch of bad decisions, but I can't let it break my heart to the point where I can't ever be happy. And even if I stress out and worry about him, this kind of looks like a jail cell, and that Eight of Swords could be jail cell. I'm just giving an alternate idea on how this could have like really stressed out this feminine, and I'm going to say this is probably Ophiuchus, but everybody grows up and they get to make their own decisions. And so let's say this mother figure said, I'm going to still be happy. I'm not going to let my worries and frets about my adult son's choices destroy my happiness. And I know he doesn't have to keep making bad decisions. And maybe, he was a hellion who had to learn the hard way that you can't act that way. Society won't let you do that. So maybe it was a tough lesson, but he needed to have it. Or, God, am I just lying to myself? And it's like, no, he really has made some changes. And it's maybe not even that he didn't ever know right from wrong. It was just, he wanted to be a stubborn young buck and do it his way, even if he was going to get himself in trouble, didn't want to listen to rules. And eventually he's like, okay, yeah, I got myself into some trouble, but I've straightened up, and hey, Ma, can I come on back into the fold? This actually says, yeah, he could be coming back in much better, and that could make her very happy. So that's just a whole different way to look at this, because we don't really have this as romantic feelings between the two of them. We have her wanting to have a happy life for herself. We have her determined not to let her happiness hinge upon the stress that she's been under, even though she's like, am I lying to myself, or can I really get happy? I could see this going in a non-romantic way. However, it does look like her happiness does have something to do with this King of Swords. And because that Judgment card, it does look like he is coming back into her life, and it will make her happy. Princess of Cups, Six of Wands, happy and even like proud that she, maybe held her ground at a time when it was difficult to. Sometimes if we're really going to say, this person's not treating me right, let's go back and say, maybe this is about romance, not about like a parental, scenario with a child. Let's say she had to do the tough love thing in a romance and say, I'm not going to be with somebody who's being toxic. You don't get to have me in your life if you're going to be toxic. And although it kills me to have to walk away from you. I deserve better and I'm going to be happy. And secretly she's like, oh man, but I loved them and I wished it had been them. Am I lying to myself? Will I be able to move on and be happy without them? And this says, yes, she will absolutely be able to. But ironically, it says this person is learning to straighten up and fly right. And it does look like this could be still very, very happy. This is an apology coming in. This is something that would make her feel really good. My concern is if this is a lover coming back in, somebody who has finally stopped being so impulsive, somebody who has grown up, somebody who's showing up as a king of swords, have they really changed? Are they that mature? Is everything fixed? I mean, the devil is still upright. So I guess I have to ask, is this one of those situations where there's genuine change? We have the moon. The moon is what's hidden, but this is the goddess Hecate on this card. And she represents the goddess of the occult, meaning things that are hidden. But she's normally seen with this torch because she's the goddess of the threshold. So she lights a torch, and she's very associated with, as souls on their journey are passing from one like existence to the next, going on to the next phase of their journey. She lights that doorway for them, but she also is the guardian of that doorway. So you basically have to be ready to pass through that door, otherwise she won't let you. I just wonder if this is less about, oh, they're secretly still toxic, but trying to pretend like they're going to behave better. I don't think it's that. I think it's less about that and more about she will probably have to determine. She will be the goddess of the crossroads. I don't know if they're really going to have, be approaching and behaving better. It'll be wonderful to hear from them. It'll be great to hear from this King of Swords. I think Ophiuchus is going to love hearing from them, but once bitten, twice shy. Even if they come in and say that they're sorry and they have a letter to write, and this person does have 4 arms still. So they could still have a bit of a toxic side, but also they're trying to improve. So like, let's say an example of this would be, someone who might always struggle with addiction, right? But it is a battle that they want to, get in check. And they've done so, but it's like, look, I have to admit that this is an addiction that I have, but I am determined that I won't let it run my life. And so this could be her looking at it like that and saying, well, I don't know, if this is temporary or if this is long-term, but you know what? I will, I want to do this. And she might be saying, well, then I have to see how this goes. I have to see how this will play out. She definitely, I keep saying she for Ophiuchus in this. Forgive me, it doesn't have to be that way. It's just the way the cards came out. But she's saying, I won't know unless I give this person some of my time. Let's try again. Let's start fresh. It does look like there's a chance for like at least new beginnings, but there is that element of, I know that I don't know if this will work. So, maybe just being mindful of that. We have the Fool, but this Fool card's a little bit different than most. Normally the Fool is somebody taking this leap of faith into the great unknown. They're doing it bravely, but it's the baby of the major arcana. It's where we're first born, and we don't know anything yet about the journey because this component of our journey is fresh for us. So, we have to go through all the, 21 major arcana and all those lessons. Or, as in this card, we actually have a Sufi dancer. And to my limited knowledge, they spin and spin and spin in the like whirling dervish movement because they are mimicking the movement of the planets, and it's a form of active meditation. And to me, that's always like, okay, the fact that they put that on this card kind of diminishes the idea that someone's just taking this blind leap of faith and actually says, okay, this is not somebody who's new to energy or new to the world. They know how to tap into like the higher self. They know how to tap into the cosmos. They are, actively meditating on, I'm brave enough to like work with the flow of the universe, and whatever's in my greatest and highest good, I will go ahead and I will put in energy to begin, making the wheels of my life turn. So I would just say there is No guarantees about any positive outcomes here, but Ophiuchus is walking in eyes wide open. I don't feel like things are, like hidden or anything. It feels pretty like, I think this Ophiuchus is like, yeah, I could see this possibly working. We have a Three of Cups that is coming out sideways. Look, both people want this union, and we had the Judgment card already, so we know it's looking more like a reunion. But it looks very joyful. It looks like, and we do have them taking off masks, and kind of like dancing around Bacchus here. So it feels very joyful. It feels like, I feel urged to say, if these two are going to sit down and have a glass of wine, and if anybody's struggling with addictions, maybe don't go down that route. But for these characters, but all of this looks really joyful, and it's joyful because instead of Ophiuchus going, look, I'd like to give them a second chance, but I promised myself I'd have a happy future someplace without them, and even if my heart still yearns from them, and even if they're coming back as if they are very different, I'm not going to give them a chance, because tough luck. I don't think Ophiuchus is willing to say that and just block the chance that, hey, if I want to give this person a second chance because they're operating in a different way, yes, I will give them a second chance. If Ophiuchus doesn't like what they see, I think Ophiuchus is strong enough to walk away again. But it does look like a brand new thing. Princess of Pentacles in the reverse, and I actually think they're not even going to talk about the past. It's like, if I'm giving you a fresh start, if we are giving each other a fresh start, let's act as if we just met each other for the first time. Let's not talk about the past. Let's give each other a chance to meet a new upgraded 2.0 version. I wish these two nothing but the best. I hope that this does work. And if not, then I hope that Ophiuchus boogies on out of there quick as a wink. Because I always hope that our characters get opportunities that they actually want, but then still use their discernment to determine if something really could work or not. Even though that person had the Devil card, that King of Swords had the Devil card, they did become the King of Swords, which is usually a very truthful character. So it does kind of hint that, okay, this person might not be pulling any punches about it. Like, yes, I, was impulsive and I made terrible decisions, and yet I took control of that because I looked at it with truth and honesty and said, I don't want to be that person. They maybe are the character who's really turned their life around in this one. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Really nice to see everyone. Again, Luminous Marina, happy birthday tomorrow, love. Well, actually, officially today. SLH, hi, honey. Bruised Like Violets. Hey, Viv. Jam. Learn More. Raptor F123. I'm sorry. Do you mean that you're having some heartbreak? I'm sorry, honey. I hope that you have a lot of healing. I hope that things get a lot lighter. I know you're in good company. I know we've all been through heartbreak, and that is not to minimize what you're experiencing at all, but just to let you know you're among friends. And I hope that you heal really swiftly, sweetheart. All right, you guys. Sister, thanks for being here. Bye, you guys. I'll see you next. We're going to do a today's topic after this, okay? My pleasure, Raptor. Bye, guys.